Hey guys, I'm Genevieve, Positive Peach,
I'm Alex, joyfully rare,
and this is
and this is
Positively
Positively
Walking
Walking
with
with
Mito.
Mito.
So, what I was thinking is positivity, defining what positivity is. So, like, for me, positivity is just having the one simple goal of smiling authentically each and every day. But that may be hard for some people because being positive can be daunting. So, without giving a direct how-to guide, um, for me, positivity is doing something I enjoy and finding the silver lining in every single day, in the negatives, in the bad times that I may be going through. If a symptom is rough, I try to find the silver lining of tomorrow will be another day, or maybe if you struggle a lot now, it means that you're building muscle, or your body is trying to figure out how to walk with not strong muscles. Alex, how do you reaffirm your positivity through your faith? Do you read Psalms? Do you pray a lot? How do you reaffirm your journey?
Yeah, so my faith is a part of my life every day. I do have Bible verses on my walls and things to give me reminders. Whenever I'm going through those really difficult times where there are tears, there are very scary realities, I do lean on my faith as my rock. And so that kind of comes with prayer in those moments. For sure. I think that's probably number one. I think I hold a lot of scripture in my heart, and that's something I can um not just think to myself, but I can also go read it if I need to. I think having a community of other believers is something that I find support in as well. They can pray with me. They can also come from a deeper understanding of where I'm coming from with my journey and the mindset that I have, that even though these are the trials of today and these are very scary, that they know I'm not dwelling in that, but I am facing that today. And so they can come alongside me, knowing the hope that I have, and also knowing that we need to go through these earthly trials, with real feelings and everything today. And so that is some of my first go-tos are my community and through prayer and the reminders that I have in my heart. And sometimes there is sometimes there's just a sense of knowing that I am not going in it alone, even if I am in a room by myself or going through a procedure by myself. I know that I'm not actually by myself and that I have someone walking with me. Sometimes I can even metaphorically think I'm holding Jesus' hand, to get through some of those tough situations where there is nobody physically that I can lean on, but he's always there spiritually.
I really like that. I really like Alex's point of view because it's so different from mine, but it makes a lot of sense. And that positivity is not a one size fits all kind of coping mechanism or approach to dealing with hardships, because Mito is definitely not the only hardship that I'm sure you face.
For sure. Okay. Where does your positivity come from?
My positivity comes from my family, knowing that I always have someone who's going to uh care about whether or not I'm happy. But it also comes from myself, knowing that a the alternative is riddled with tears, and I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be sad every minute of every day. That's not conducive to um being excited about living. It is just like, oh, I speak, because I would just be waking up every day and going, oh, I still have a life-threatening disease. Like it's never going to go away. Like Mito's here and it's here to stay. So I would rather make friends with my Mito and embrace my struggles because it's the way that I am. It's I've accepted who I am instead of trying to fight it and live in deference of my circumstances.
For sure. In those harder times, what makes you want to choose to have an uplifting mindset?
In those harder times, which there are going to be, I remind myself that tomorrow's another day, and that I'm gonna have bad days. Not every day is going to knock it out of the park. So, and it's okay to have a bad day, um, as long as I look forward to the next day being better, and I do one thing that day that is working towards getting better. Like if I'm like, okay, I'm struggling today to walk, I should block out 1 hour before I go to bed to do 5 workouts, whether that be um crunches, cardio, something small, so that I don't overexert myself, but I know that I did at least one thing that I can put in the leaderboard as a win for me, because a lot of the time Mito's going to win. I'm going to fall, I'm going to break something. It's just going to happen. It's just a matter of how I'm going to cope with it. And if I'm going to not let it affect me, because if I start going, oh, that's the 100th thing I've broken within 2 days. Like if I start telling things, that's not progression. It's not moving forward. It's staying still and collecting all the negative things. And if I just surround myself with negative things, there is no way to be positive. And then if I start gathering negative things now, in 2 months, or whenever I keep on doing negative things, there is so much negative. There is no room for the positive. You have to physically choose to be positive so that you only have positivity in your life. And the negative things don't seem as big. You also have to like have positive things in your life to keep on going back to, because for every negative thing you want to have one positive thing that you can counteract that with. For me, I like to read books. So whenever I'm struggling, whenever I'm feeling fatigued, whenever I'm like, why isn't this working, I take a deep breath, sit down, and open the books app on my phone and read for 5 minutes. By that time, I've calmed down and my mind is not thinking about the thing I'm trying to figure out. It's thinking about what I am reading about. So whenever I start feeling like cold, or I can feel my legs have stopped shaking, I'm like, okay, let me see if I can get this going again. I put the phone down, and sometimes the answer just comes to me. My brain has stopped thinking about it, and it can see the answer. So sometimes it is there, and sometimes you have to work for it. But I'd say that choosing to be happy or choosing positivity or choosing light instead of dark is what reaffirms me to keep on going on this journey because it is worth it to be positive instead of negative.
I love that you find books or things that even if you can't get in that place on your own, that you have some resources. I think for me, I can go to music and that sort of will reorient my mindset as well.
I like that. Is there certain kinds of music that help you put it back in that time frame?
I think there's a lot of variety of music that I listen to. I can, even if I'm just trying to get an exam done, I just play, movie soundtracks of my favorite movies to get my head in a better space so I have a better attitude about doing my exam, and in those more difficult moments, I definitely, do lean on spiritual music as well. And if I need some motivation for the day, listen to more upbeat music, more of those reminder words and things in those spiritual songs that I need to get through the day. And so I also love to make my own music, and I find a lot of like calming feelings from that. And through that, I play more like classical music and whatever I want, basically. I can have a free for all sometimes.
I really like that.
It's sometimes I'm at the piano because I'm frustrated, sometimes it's because I'm happy. It really, all of the above emotions go into my music.
That is awesome. Sometimes you need the physical release. The physical act of your fingers on the piano and like filling all of your senses with just the purity of the music. Hopefully you're not like making punk music on the piano because that's probably not, or maybe it is conducive because you're letting all the negative emotions out so you can have positivity come back. But that is awesome. I need to look into learning how to do more physical things, but physical things aren't really my strong suit. So
That's
for now,
okay.
reading is my go-to. And that's about as physical as it's gonna get.
That's okay. We all have our things and that bring us back.
Actually, one thing that does make me feel positive, that makes me like that uh releases the physical release of a negative energy is swimming. I know, which is a seasonal activity, but whenever I see a big pool of water to swim in, I'm like I can like feel like the energy building, but like escaping at like the same time. It's like I can see it coming out of like my fingertips, sort of. And then I'm like, okay, my body's pumped to go do a couple of laps.
Yeah, for sure. I've done some swimming physical therapy, and while it is there to work out, I love being able to be in the pool because you can move in different ways and kind of get a little bit more of that physical expression that you maybe can't on land. And it's sometimes just really fun to get to
Yeah.
do things you can't normally do. I do. There's like whenever I wake up in the mornings, like I don't know how to like tie this into anything, but like I really have to make a decision when I get up to choose to have a positive attitude because when my feet hit the floor, I know I'm gonna be hit with chronic pain and I have to keep going and keep taking one step at a time. And that's something that I've like worked really hard at getting to that mindset, but it's also something I feel like is important about how I get through the day is how I start and being able to kind of have that, okay, I am blessed with a new day, and no matter what lies ahead, it's going to be okay. and I am here for another morning, and that is a great thing. And so, it's an opportunity in the day to continue to spread that light. And so I don't know how to like tie that into anything, but that's like
Actually,
something.
that's really, really huge because that's where I really value your opinion because I don't really have pain because I have damaged nerves. I don't really feel pain the same way that other people do. I mean, I
Mhm.
do feel some pain, but it's very, very delayed and it's on a lesser scale. So I don't have chronic pain. Like my muscles aren't painful. So it's probably easier for me to choose positivity. I know that pain makes certain people's brain functions different. They have to physically choose to want to be positive, which is why I admire you, Alex. I admire the people who go through the pain every day that they still want to be positive and still have the smiles on their faces because you guys are truly the definition of the term positivity is hard because you're facing the ultimate trial of having to choose positivity because your body is telling you stop this. It's easier to just sit on the couch and think about why life sucks. But the fact that you are going, no, I'm going to choose to do the things that make me happy. That's huge because I probably don't have to do that as much. There the only real thing that I have to um choose to do actively is in the dead of winter whenever my neuropathy is making my legs like purple. I have to choose to be like, okay, I have to trust that my legs are still there and that they're going to work even though I really can't feel them all that well. But that's like minuscule compared to the chronic pain that I know that some people experience.
But I think we all have our own difficulties in the day. It could be so much worse for me, and I don't always want to compare to someone else because we're
Yeah.
all given the trials that we can handle, and that's something that I feel for a lot of people who have it worse than me, and I don't really look at it in terms of, oh, it's harder for me, to choose that joy every day, because I do just personally have um, the joy that I get, I feel does not come from me and is something that is supernatural. And so, while it is a choice in the day, I know I have something stronger than anything in this world that I'm leaning on. And so, but yes, I definitely understand um, whenever I hear other people's stories, and I try not to feel bad for them, or feel like I'm better off in some way, or anything. It's definitely we all have our unique challenges and it's something that we're all doing our things to try and work through them and get day by day.
Wow. That's that's huge that you are physically leaning on other things, not just spiritually or mentally. You are in a way physically doing it, and sometimes how do I want to say this that in your mind, because you are choosing to be positive through something else, it's giving you a stronger sense of positivity because you know that your support system really isn't going anywhere. It's with you always.
Yes, And I do feel like, I don't have the energy to do every day. You
Right.
know, I don't. And I think whenever, I do pull from something that has endless energy,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of where I'm like, I know if I don't have the energy for today, he does, and so that is how I do get through a lot. Um, and sometimes, I do use physical items to lean on, like my
Yeah.
walker or something, but those things just break. Sometimes I'm walking with it when it breaks, and so, sometimes I can't always rely on that. But I definitely know what I'm relying on for something else. So I have had experiences like this, but have you ever been going through something really difficult and you have a smile on and you're like, have a good attitude, and then somebody looks at you who's been observing you and is like, how in the world does she have this good attitude right now?
So, I haven't exactly been in that situation. I've more like, um, I've had multiple people been like, after the fact, once they've told me all of their problems, they've been like, and I have given them like advice about like how to be positive in spite of like those problems. Whenever they've been mostly Mito problems, um, they're usually like, wow, that's really insightful. How are you so positive? I'm like, and then I usually give them like, choose positivity, rely on your coping mechanisms, and the plethora of other advice that I have given so far. And usually they come back with, well, I'm nothing like you. And that's where I kind of get like, I get kind of like frustrated whenever people say that. I'm like, it's not as hard as you think it is. I realize that can be kind of me going, it's not like that hard, just like smile. And people can get kind of frustrated with that, like it's not so easy. And like I get it, it's not so easy. I do going back to the chronic pain thing. I do have reasons that it's easier for me to be positive as opposed to other people. However, there are, you could list a bajillion reasons why it is um not worthwhile to be positive. It's easier to just let the world's problems, your problems, the mito problems, everything get um in the way of you choosing positivity. And I can understand why you would rather do that than just smile through the pain. But at the end of the day, I just say it's easier and it's more worthwhile to be positive as opposed to negative. Because the thing about negativity is it breeds and it gets bigger and it becomes more consuming. It's easier to be negative, but it's also harder to choose positivity. It's harder to go, that's okay. You, like the person who cut you off in traffic. It's like, it's okay. You must be having a hard day. I'll let you go. I realize it's much harder to choose to do that than to flip them off or to get mad that they aren't following the same rules of the road that you would. So I can understand why you don't want to, but it's more worthwhile in the longevity because at some point you're going to go, I have so much anxiety in my life. Like, what? I don't want to wake up tomorrow. I could just sleep for like 100 years. Well, I don't want to live that way anymore. That's where I would just say, choose to do something is something you want to do tomorrow. And guess what? You just chose positivity. You just chose to be happy instead of sad. So it's kind of like a weird mind game that you have to play with yourself until you finally like reach your breaking point, and then you just like, but just choose to be happy. I know it's not that simple. So I've not been in that exact situation. What have you told to people who have been like, how are you this positive? Your life is essentially sucks.
Yeah, I love all that you're saying. And I think it is the harder choice to be positive in situations, but the harder the struggle, the more rewarding outcome. And I think you can just get more fulfillment and joy in life by picking those positive moments when you could have chosen otherwise. Okay. And I think when people ask me, how I'm having such a positive attitude, I remember some people just asked me in the hospital, they're like, normally we don't come in and see people just smiling while they're laying in a hospital bed, and I said, this joy doesn't come from me, and that is why I have it, and that usually is some sort of answer that I will give. But I think, I would always recommend for someone to choose the brighter side of things, because I think overall, your life is going to be so much more fulfilling. And it doesn't mean there aren't going to be hard and tough times, but I think you can even learn more through those moments when you do choose a positive outlook.
I definitely agree with that, and that is a beautiful insight to be able to have. I think one of um uh, usually it takes people a bit of time, usually life experience, for them to just want to be happy, to prioritize themselves. I think, at least for me, the reason why I'm so young, and because I didn't start off the journey yesterday. I've been positive for a couple of years now. Um, I started probably when I was about 17, about 2 years after I was diagnosed. Um, and I was diagnosed and then became positive. I'd say I was probably a pretty negative teenager, as most teenagers are. I wasn't actively frowning, but I probably was positive in comparison. But being told that you are probably going to die definitely makes you mature faster than other people. Would you agree?
Yes, for sure.
Have you felt like, wow, I'm so young. Where do I get all this sage wisdom? Or have other people been like, you're so young. How do you have this much like sage wisdom?
Well, we're all going to die one day. Unfortunately, that is the reality. And, I think, you can be told you have some added uh, favoritism towards that, maybe, but that doesn't mean that I can't live today. And I think that is, no one is guaranteed tomorrow. And so I think if you can live the fullest of today, that's something that I strive to do.
I love that because I would say the same for me. Just appreciate each moment that you're living and try to um make those moments last as long as possible. Maybe a full 24 hours if you're lucky.
For sure. We hope, as our listeners, that you can choose to have a little bit more positivity in your life from listening to our conversation.
Thanks for listening,
You can check us out on all social media platforms.
and we hope you continue walking with us.